So real quick, let's talk about that so that people understand. Like we're just talking about taint. So explain what is happening and what that is and why it's a
healthy taint length.
Yeah.
Go.
I call BTE big taint energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. BTE
I'm going to use that.
BTE is where we go.
The terminology is anogenital distance, which AG distance. I'm like, okay, it can be associated with like people's grundles now. Or the chode or the choach, like those were the different.
That was a
nicknames.
90s term.
Yeah, I remember that.
Chode. Yeah.
Yep. But for context, for those listening, people or men are being born with more feminine traits lately because sperm production has decreased by 60% since the 70s.
And I think at this point, it's so visually obvious that people can't even deny it anymore. Like you just go walk around and you're like, what? Like men are not manly anymore.
No,
especially with the youth. Yeah.
To the point where like, someone looking like you is now abnormal. And we were all discussing this at dinner last night. Like you can't, if you have muscles, male or female, if you have muscles, it's just weird. Like people are not used to seeing that. Whereas 60, 70, again, earlier, that was more the norm look.
I look at my we're getting off track, but I have a photo of my grandfather, Nick. Mm-hmm. And what year would you say that is? Maybe the 40s?
I'd say, yeah, it was probably 34 to 45 time frame. That was probably.
And he's on a paddleboard, jacked and ripped.
You never see that.
He didn't
shredded.
He didn't work out like that. Like he didn't
manual labor, and
he just did manual labor and lived and ate, and he was on a paddleboard. He was out of paddleboard in Lutraki, ripped,
dude,
at full abs, 8-pack, naturally.
You don't see that.
No.
There's been guys who have come after me on like YouTube or whatever, and they're like, "Who's this guy?" And I'm like, first of all, your joke is really old, okay? Because I have short hair, whatever. Maybe I'm more jacked than you. But if I look like what you think a guy should look like, that's a problem, dude. like that's a problem. I'm 5'3".
The spectrum is off.
Yeah, like standards have, we got to raise them. But it's just weird because you don't see like a muscular guy is just so like you get kicked out of Planet Fitness for looking like that.
Yeah.
Like the statue of Hercules, like that's what a man was supposed to look like. And now it's changed so much. And part of this, it has to do with the exposure to a lot of these toxic things that we used to be like are so tree huggy, like not something to worry about. But it's called phthalate syndrome, like the PT, however the hell you spell it. And that's what was studied that predicted men to be infertile by the year 2050, which is crazy to,
well,
2050.
It's not that far away.
They're saying 2050 men will be infertile.
And this study came out
per capita or whatever.
2017. Yeah. Yep.
What the hell, man?
Worldwide.
Well, I mean, just our infertility clinic that we used only because, he is fixed. And so we've done a workaround to do IVF. It says it's increased, I think, by 40%.
Yep.
In the last few years.
So everyone knows
how does this play into to BTE, big taint energy? So
the boys that are being born, when they're in the womb, if a mom is exposed to a high level of phthalates or xenoestrogens, which are like the fake estrogens, which are 1,000 more times powerful than regular estrogen, they can actually affect a guy's sperm production as an adult while he's in the womb, which is like, I mean, you look at me like I'm like insane when I say that, but it's true. And it's so weird. And you're like, what? How the fuck? Like, and so boys are being born with more feminine traits where they may have one testicle, one ovary. They may have a very short anogenital distance, which women are born with, but guys should have a longer one. And it's not something that, you were saying, like, we physically notice that. Like, it's not like we're looking at people's taints, but like they do measure them at birth and everything. And they've done studies where they've measured it on women who had a higher level of phthalates that they've also measured in them. Like, it's crazy. But, and then when people say, well, what do I do? Like when my wife's pregnant, I'm like, I don't know. Because there's nobody
not
that
microwave
has the answer.
Your food, not use like plastics in your,
Yeah. But as far as like detoxing, like xenoestrogens, no one's found the answer for that yet.